Maria, Felipe, Timothy, Ricardo, and myself. And we are going through these 4 questions in detail. But first, let's have a quick wrap up. Also, if we heard it several times on the Hilti strategy. So Hilti is a high quality brand for construction tool, almost an historical brand, I would say, which is famous for extreme quality and professional tools for B2B. And Hilti switched or included a fleet management service, which means that the company is no longer selling drills but tools. Fleet management means that they have a kind of abo where they sell a service basically. With this service, it includes a leasing contract to enable long-term, sustainable, and stable customer relationship. And having adopted a market-oriented IP culture, focusing on protecting the use case, so having a value-added monopoly IP model, the company benefits now from the protection of IP for their business model. And shifting from a seller of products of construction tool to a seller of solutions provide Hilti with differentiation, and this means that they can generate additional revenue from the selling of the service, meaning so the leasing, the replacement tool, the maintenance tool, and so on. They have increased customer satisfaction by providing them with customized solution that fits their true need, and they have competitive differentiation in a market that is overcrowded. And then I hand it over to Maria.
Thank you, Andrea. What we have seen in the Hilti case is basically the fundamental change in the business model. They started off as a construction equipment manufacturers, hence the focus has been on the product, to online fleet management, where the focus shifts respectively to service, uptime as a service, if you will. This essentially is a complete value proposition shift, which also implies that now there is a need for inventory management, which was not required before. Also, the preventive maintenance and other related services call for other skill set in Hilti's people. So in a nutshell, Hilti has become a one-stop service tailored to individual needs, optimizing customers' own productivity and improving uptime. Next slide, please. Given that the sound IP strategy, for the sound IP strategy, there is a need to understand the features that customers actually value. We have further looked into gains and pains of Hilti's customers, and then into which elements of Hilti's new value proposition are directly addressing those gains and pains. Finally, and next slide, please. Before we dive into a particular use case, we would like to mention that these fundamental shifts in the business strategy are obviously also reflected in the Hilti's IP strategy. As you see, Hilti has essentially moved from the pure physical into the digital world, which means that the IP strategy has also been shifted from mere protecting proprietary R&D results to protecting the positions of exclusivity that result from the business model. And with this, I give the floor to Timofey, who will talk about the particular use case.
Thank you very much, Maria. So yeah, as Maria said already, that Hilti moved from the physical world to digi-physical world. And this patent is not about the tool, it's not about how it looks like, it is all about how it should work and how it should be configured. In the modern world, it is desirable that we have an ability to identify how the tool which is used operate, how it is function, and in which state it is currently based. And we want to also have an ability to identify whether any errors or malfunctions may appear during the usage of this tool or before the usage of this tool. And of course, we want to have ability to control any malfunctions, as well as have ability to exchange or change the configuration of the tool in case of any errors. And concretely, this patent describes not the device but the method how to configure the engine of the power tool, and how to use the sensors which incorporated in the tool, and how to get the information from those sensors. And the very particular thing of this patent that the method here describes how the information which was derived from the sensors can be controlled by the system outside of the construction site, and even that the operator out of the construction site can identify where the tool which has potential malfunction located. And even if there is network coverage, or GPS coverage, for example, the engineer can identify the location of malfunctioning device using cellular network. And on the next slide, we can see that the typical use case here, this is how to predict, it's predictive maintenance and device configuration, which on the digital business model lies on the layer 4 and 5. So this patent allows Hilti to guarantee that all the tools on the construction site are in a good condition, they are configured in the right way, that if there is any malfunction or error, it is informed, the engineer is informed about that, and any failure which can occur are predicted and prevented. And of course, it allows the system monitor engineer to identify if there is an error and make the exchange of device or upload the configuration into the device, which will prevent this further malfunction. And we also made some research about other patents related to this use case, and Felipe will discuss further. So we identified 3 patents, and Felipe will give more information about that.
Thank you, Tofay. Yeah, actually, we did want to go further into understanding more of the patent portfolio, and as we've already discussed in other groups, I've also shared some of the core patents about how the devices work and the power that they have and how efficient they can be. Was sort of the original development of patents, but now it's user related, customer related, engagement, and as we said before, this is one of the strongest strategies to improve the engagement with the user, and there's of course a lot of IP rights related to it. So we are analyzing the predictive maintenance and device configuration and what patents can be relevant to protect those features. We found 3 patents. I'm not going to go very deep into what is claimed or what is not claimed. This patent is related to a provision that is made for a mobile communication device that includes a communication link for a unidirectional, bidirectional exchange of data with a large accumulator, the device. But basically, the key feature, what adds value to the customer here, is that there's acquiring of data automatically and predicting the stage of use. So the user is not aware that Hilti is capturing the data on how the machinery is being used, but this of course adds a lot of useful information for Hilti to understand trends in how users use the devices, and how can we make improvements based on that particular use. We have another patent related to predictive maintenance and device configuration. The problem that is solved by this patent is when occasionally a warning signal is not received or emitted at the time that it has to happen. So sometimes it comes too late, or sometimes it comes too early. When it comes too late, of course, there's a risk that the user is not aware that there's a malfunction. And when it's too early, it shortens the time, it shortens the useful time of the device and anticipates a maintenance that would not be necessary at that point. That's, of course, a very, very key feature, both for the customer and both for Hilti. There's another patent that we found related to this use case. This is a internal server that can be adapted, that is currently to understand a bit more of the user behavior related to device in terms of detecting via a lot of sensors are incorporated in the device. Elements, for example, related to force, acceleration, movement, vibration frequencies, that of course allows Hilti to understand how the user is making use of the device, and how it can make further improvements for future developments. And based on the same case study, we also wanted to understand what other IP rights or IP strategy could be implemented to expand the protection of these user features. I'm not going to go on the patents and trademarks that they already have, but what can be further implemented. For example, in terms of patents, there's a good opportunity of developing further method patents that allow for automatic order and repairing. In terms of trademarks, there's a possibility of implementing sound trademark for battery and maintenance, notifications, color trademark. This is what all other groups have already described, that Hilti already has 3D trademarks, also a very important element. In terms of secrecy and trade secrets, there's a good opportunity of developing application via mobile devices or via computers for monitoring the use, and through that understanding the user trends and their behaviors. In terms of designs, of course, a lot of opportunity because they provide also like physical devices, battery life and safety indicators, replacement tools, and this may allow Hilti to implement a dominant design in the industry, that which they already have. But of course, this is an ongoing task. In terms of know-how, we've already seen that Hilti provides not only products but also services, and many of them are related to training and advice and teaching the users on how to make the most efficient and effective use of the devices. So there's a lot of know-how that can be a good competitive advantage for Hilti. And in terms of copyright, of course, because software is a key element to their IP strategy, there are opportunities, of course, by using copyrights for the software that is implemented throughout the platforms. I'm going to hand over to my colleague who is coming now. Oh, Ricardo. Okay, you come. Thanks.
Hello. Yes, my name is Ricardo, and now we speak about expansion to include other elements and this. And the basic question, what I like to raise your attention to is what next for Hilti? What they could do with now having that kind of smart drilling, and also with this new business model. So please, next slide. The first use case, where it says we can expand the use case, is not only provide something like this predictive maintenance, which means that we are well aware when the drilling machine wears out or is low in performance, to really deeply understand what the user or the customer needs. And if you think of it, it's one of the most crucial business lessons, that you need to understand what your user or customer really needs. And now with this smart approach, you really can monitor the user behavior. And for example, if you have a company which does a lot of the hard work, where the drilling machine is heavily used, you may think of, okay, that customer needs a different type of battery, even not knowing, even that the customer doesn't know it. Therefore, you can advance, you can already answer his demands and needs before the person even thinking about it, in delivering the very best drilling experience the company can have. And therefore, this is the next thing. But there's one more thing. And please go to the next slide. And this is, before that, we are so used to having a transactional business model. You buy something and you own it, you can use it. Now, the other thing is like the value as a service. And what are with the people that already own something? And if you have this kind of smart machine that can detect really the usage, how it was used, if it was properly used or not, and you're offering that very clever fleet management services, the next thing can be that you say, okay, I enable for the transactional users that they can join the fleet program. Therefore, if they have downtimes, or where the company is on vacation, for example, or a project is ending and the next project is perhaps starting as in a few time, they can like rent out their drilling machines and actually earn money with it. Therefore, this could be a different approach for using that and providing value to Hilti's customers. So therefore, I want to say thank you for your attention in the name of Group 5. It was our greatest pleasure. And we are now open to your questions.